I'm going to show you how to make my favorite version right at home. The first step for a good fried rice, and I mean really good fried rice, is to make your own chicken rice. We'll start off by getting the skin on a bone-in chicken thigh as crispy as possible. We're using this chicken to make something called chicken rice, and what that is a more flavorful rice that we'll use as the base of our fried rice. If you prefer to use leftover rice that you have at home, that's totally fine. Just make sure it's nice and dry, but I'm making mine from scratch because it does make a more flavorful fried rice. While that finishes crisping up, I'll move over to my cutting board and chop 1 green onion into 3 sections. I'll add those to a separate pot along with some ginger, some of my pre-soaked and pre-rinsed rice, some homemade chicken stock, and a generous pinch of salt. By now, my chicken should look nice and crispy, so I'll transfer this to my pot of rice, then toss on a lid and bring it to a boil. Once this comes to a boil, turn it to a simmer and cover for 10 minutes. While our rice cooks, let's prep our ingredients for our fried rice. First, I'll need to chop up a few shallots, which have a nice sweet but not overpowering oniony flavor. The goal of chopping these is to chop them to about the same size as a cooked grain of rice. Use a sharp knife for this part or you are going to cry. I'm using a sharp knife and I'm crying anyway. I'll cry for a good fried rice any day though. I love onions that look like this. When they're all super fine like that and they sort of melt in the pan, I think it's worth the cry. Now same thing with your garlic, but we'll mince it just a touch finer than we just did for those shallots. If you can get in a rhythm with your chef's knife like this, kind of rocking it back and forth, this process happens pretty quick. By the time your garlic is chopped, your rice should be done, so turn it off and leave it there with the lid on to steam for another 10 minutes. The last things we need to prep are these green onions, which I'm going to thinly slice. And for this, we'll use the whole green onion from the top of the green all the way down to the bottom of the white parts. And finally, of course, eggs. For the eggs, I'll crack 2 whole eggs into a bowl, then separate out 1 additional egg yolk. This just adds a bit of extra fat to your fried rice. Whisk up your eggs until they're fully combined. There's no need to overmix, but whisk them up until it feels right. And since we made our own special rice, I'll remove all of our aromatics. And then just so we can dry it out a little bit and make it more similar to day-old leftover rice, I'll add it all to a sheet tray, then spread it out evenly, and place this in the refrigerator, ideally overnight, to dry out. When making fried rice, if you have a wok, use a wok. The first step is to coat your entire wok or pan with oil. We're looking to heat this oil until the pan starts to smoke. And if I need help getting it up on the edges, I'll just dab a paper towel and go all the way around the sides. Once that oil starts to smoke, carefully pour it off into a heat-proof bowl. We are done with that oil. Now turn your heat to about medium-low, and get ready, because this happens fast. Here we go. First up, chicken fat. Because of how hot the pan is, that's going to melt quickly. And immediately, garlic and shallots. Mix that up. You can turn the heat up just a tiny bit here, but again, you don't want to burn anything. These are only going to cook right now for about 30 to 45 seconds. Always scrape down the sides of the pan, don't let anything burn. Once the shallot and garlic is aromatic, move it off to the side and pour in your eggs. The goal with the eggs is to get it nice and fluffy, just like this. We're only going to cook the eggs for about 30 to 45 seconds as well. We just want to fluff it up and that's it. Now, in goes our rice. You should immediately hear that crackling and popping if your pan's at the correct temperature. This is what we want to hear. At this stage, we'll want to cook our rice for about 2 to 3 minutes, making sure every individual grain of rice is separate. Don't let anything clump together. If you're at this stage in the fried rice making process and you're sweating a little bit, you're not alone. This is a quick and high heat and hot recipe. At this stage, keep things moving. Do not let anything burn. The way I think about it is that you want every grain of rice, every bit of egg, every bit of everything to be touching the pan the same amount of time. And that means moving it all around all the time. Now here's a good trick. Before adding my soy sauce, I scrape all of my fried rice to the edge of my wok and then tilt my pan so the flame is hitting mostly one edge of the pan. Then you want to pour your soy sauce on the edge of your pan so it bubbles up like this and a little splash of sesame oil, and then mix that, trying to coat every grain of rice evenly as you mix. As a final step, add in your green onions and optionally a green chili, although I tend to leave the green chili out of things. Then just mix once more for 30 seconds and your fried rice is done. Have fun doing the wok flip, but try not to lose too much fried rice on your stovetop. It's fun to try to flip your fried rice into your wok spoon and then spoon that onto your plate. It takes a lot of hand-eye coordination, but it's always my final little challenge to see if I can do it without spilling. I like to finish off my fried rice with a sunny side up egg. So in a pan, I'll melt some butter, and once that butter is melted, crack in your egg, immediately toss on your lid and just let it cook. And voila, a perfect sunny side up egg to place over the top. To plate my fried rice, I'm going to pack it tightly into this bowl, put my plate over the top of it, and then finish with a sprinkle of green onions and a nice fried egg. I don't even need to try it. I know it's delicious. I am going to try it.